Heads up, in this video I'm going to be giving away the Civivi Synergy 3. This is a $90 knife, so it's not going to be free. You guys got to work for it. I highly recommend that you don't fast forward and you watch to the very end. The winner will be drawn on Monday using a random comment picker, and you also have to get all the questions right. Good luck. Happy Saturday to all you EDC snobs out there. Today, I'm going to be rehabbing a knife, and I'm going to talk about it in a second. But at the end of this video, I'm going to be giving away my Civivi Synergy. Now, in yesterday's video where I reviewed this, I said that I wasn't going to be letting this go anytime soon. Well, I let myself only keep 2 Civivis at a time for comparison, and the Civivi Conspirator has taken its place rather quickly, and this thing is awesome. But to find out how you're going to win this, you got to check out through the video, because I'm going to be hiding it throughout this video. Good luck. The reason I called you guys all snobs earlier is that we have a tendency to frown upon things like 7CR, you know, the 3CR, good lord, Gerber, sometimes CRKT. We don't like those models. So I went out and I purchased a $25 Gerber. Now, I purchased this because I picked a design that I would like despite it being a Gerber and 7CR. 13 or 12 MOV, 7CR 1 MOV, I don't know what it is. These are aluminum handles with a stainless steel frame lock. Now the reason that I like this knife and I picked it was because of this. This looks awesome, it looked ergonomic, it kind of reminded me of the Civivi Darus in that it's this small, tanky, just beefy, I'm gonna do everything for you type of knife. But it has inherent issues. Opening this, I have to do it with 2 hands. If you try to... That was painful to do. And the lock bar itself is even more painful to open up. So in this video, I'm going to show you a before and after of what we can do to this knife. I've heard nothing but bad reviews on this knife as far as trying to even take it apart and do what I'm about to do, that the screws strip out on you almost immediately. Let's see if we can get there. This is the Gerber Kettlebell. Now, I love everything about this design. I think this is awesome. And for 25 bucks, how can you go wrong? Well, for a knife that you can't deploy, it's no longer a knife. It's just a brick that you can throw at things. So let's see if we can get that fixed. First and foremost, these are T6 screws. This is a T8. So I can already tell that these are not going to come out easy. So rather than try to put too much work on that screw head itself, I'm going to try to use this little butane torch, which I highly recommend. This is not the right tool for this. You need to get like a soldering iron or something, which I have. I'm just too lazy to get out. And I'm going to open up the blade and I'm going to try to heat up these back spacers right here. And when I do that, I'm hoping that I loosen up any crappy Loctite that they actually put in there, allowing the screw to come out a lot easier. There we go. So now we got ourselves another problem. It is free spinning in there, and that's not good. So now that I broke them free, hopefully I can actually take them out. So both of those screw heads are broken free. Not the screw heads, hopefully the whole screw. Let's move on to the T8 pivot, which gratefully it's a T8 pivot. Hopefully we can get that out too. And it is free spinning as well. So there was a giveaway at the beginning of this, and there's going to be 3 parts to this giveaway throughout the video. The first question I want to know is how did I loosen up these 2 screws? Wait to put your answer in the comments below. I want all your answers in a singular comment. And voila, with a little bit of muscle, a little bit of brain power rather than brute force, we were able to get this guy open. This little blade is pretty sweet. Let's check this guy out. Ooh, we got a ton of burrs going on here, which I'm going to have to knock that down throughout the video. Maybe I'll do it off screen. And then I'm going to check this detent hole to make sure that it doesn't have any burrs in the detent hole itself. Maybe that's why it's so hard to open as well. Now, you didn't have to take this knife apart to loosen up the tension on this lock bar. You could have wedged something in there and kind of pried it out, but the problem with that is if you went too far, you're still going to have to get into the knife to kind of bend it back. Might as well do it right the first time. So we see how much strength is on here. It's going over pretty far. And I'm going to make a mark mentally to know that when I'm looking at it downward, let's see if we can see it. You can see through. The camera's not wanting to pick it up. You can see through there. I'm going to try to get it to where you can't see through that gap right here. I'm just going to try bending it back. I may have to heat this up. I don't know. Let's find out. Alright, so one little bend pushed it all the way back to where there's going to be zero tension on that. That's not going to be good. Good news is it does bend. The bad news is it's softer than hell. That looks like where it should be. I'm going to go through the process of polishing these washers and knocking off the burr on this blade. This is a pretty aggressive burr here on the tang, so I'm just going to take my Dremel real quick and knock it down. So we successfully knocked down this burr and this backside. I didn't want to adjust the tang at all. They did a good job of doing the actual lock interface. They did a chamfer right here almost. But if I did anything to here, I'd be messing with the lock bar interface, and I don't want to do that. Next, I'm going to turn the Dremel on extremely low because I don't want to wallow out this hole, but I do want to check to see if there's any burrs here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come straight at it and do that. That's all I'm gonna do because I don't want to do anything to that hole. This next part, I'm gonna be polishing the washers. I'm gonna be using my Spyderco medium ceramic and my Spyderco fine ceramic to do this. You might want to remember that because that's number 2 in the giveaway. So this washer's not perfect, but I'm gonna stop here. Sometimes washers, especially the cheaper ones, aren't perfectly flat, and that's gonna cause you not to hit those edges, which also means that it's not gonna be necessarily riding on the blade itself either. You should be doing most of the work on your medium stone so that it doesn't take you as long on your fine, and as you can see, I spent about 15 minutes on the medium stone and about 30 seconds on the fine, and you're already getting a finish like that. And again, those spots that you see on the washer itself aren't actually going to be riding on the blade or the scales, so I'm going to let those go. So here's the finish. I'll clean those up before I put them back in. All right, it's time for the moment of truth, guys. Let's get this guy back together and see what happens. This guy up. Now I know this action's going to turn out really well because if I open the lock bar, it drops, right? So that's good, especially for a smaller blade. The issue I ran into is because I loosened up the lock bar so much, it's meeting with a part of the geometry of the tang that's not necessarily great. And what's happening is, I don't know if I got that clicking, but there is a back and forth clicking. But when I press in the lock bar just a little bit, it doesn't do it. So I'm gonna open this back up one more time, and I'm gonna try to tighten up that lock bar just a little bit, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so we have no back and forth now, and our action is still smooth, and I can still flick it. See if I can reverse flick it. Yep. I can still flick it, but it is a little bit tighter. No up and down, no back and forth. Nice and smooth. So I'm gonna do one more thing, and it's gonna be kind of a cheater way to break this in. But before that, here's your third question that you have to answer. What is your favorite knife? For this question, all answers will be accepted, but I do not want you to put my favorite knife is. I'm gonna show you a format and how to actually respond to these questions, and the format's gonna be listed at the end of this video, how to answer. Do not put my favorite knife is, just put the knife. The reason is I want to throw people off who aren't actually watching this video. They're going to be so confused that everybody's giving a different answer. But if you put my favorite knife is, then they're going to know that it's whatever knife you want. So because this is a cheap knife that I don't care about, do not do this on your expensive knives. But I am going to try to force break it in by putting extra pressure on the lock bar and detent ball and just rocking it around. Bam. You don't want to open it up or lock it out. You just want to get that range of motion down. And because this is 7CR, this shouldn't be too bad. So we were able to take a knife that would not even open without two hands just going like this, to a knife that I can flick open and shut just like that. This is a $25 knife. Yes, it is 7CR, 13, 10, whatever, MOV. But for 25 bucks, this design is pretty cool. This is the Gerber Kettlebell. I highly recommend you guys check it out if you're looking for a fun project knife to learn stuff on, which some of this was learning stuff. I didn't know how to do some of this stuff going into it. I haven't bought a $25 knife from Gerber and can't tell you how long, right? But man, this design is awesome, and I'm kind of glad I did this, because now I can use this knife as a beater knife, but it's solid. There is no back and forth, there is no up and down. The action is not the best, but it's 25 bucks for what you had originally. This is pretty damn good. I'm gonna put the format of the responses right here. Remember, there were 3 questions. Yes, this is a pain in the ass, but I'm giving away a knife, so deal with it or don't win the knife. And I lied to you guys. I said there was only 3 questions. There's gonna be a 4th. The 4th question is gonna be, what do you think of the Gerber Kettlebell now that we've actually fixed it up? The action, and this is actually a usable knife. It's actually solid. There's no back and forth, no up and down. It's a solid little tank of a knife for 25 bucks. Pretty cool. Here's your format. Hope you guys have a great Saturday.